88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious...
Tell me, Doctor, where are we going this time? I've waited 11 years to ask that question again. 11 years to drop some banana peels and beer cans into Mr. Fusion and fire up the time circuits, but it's about time. It's about time we played a movie-based game that doesn't make us wish we could go back in time and prevent our future selves from doing so. It's about time a developer put the same love into a movie-based game that the movie's fans put into quoting it, even 11 years after the credits rolled.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Doc, you disintegrated Einstein.
It's about time we went back to Hill Valley and back to the future. Oh man, listen, I'm gonna do my best to be as objective as possible here, but I gotta tell you, this game is like a dream come true for me. In fact, this game is my density. This is episode 1 of what will be a 5-part series collectively entitled Back to the Future the Game. Now I know this is only the first episode, and I don't have a time machine, I can't travel into the future and, you know, predict what's gonna happen tomorrow. But here's what I do know. They could have called this game Back to the Future the Awesome, and I'm pretty sure the other chapters would have lived up to the billing. The game begins with a recreation of the Twin Pines Mall scene from the first Back to the Future. You play as Marty McFly, choosing his responses to his friend Doc in classic point-and-click fashion, and it's just absolutely brilliant. The first moments play out exactly like they did in the movie scene, and astute fans such as myself will probably choose the responses that match the actual script. And the game follows that script for a few minutes until something goes wrong.
Doc?
Huh, that's peculiar.
And that's when you feel it. That's when you realize the developers at Telltale Games are onto something special. They build up the scene, and then they stop. Einstein doesn't come back. The scene you've been watching for 26 years suddenly changes. And that drop from the expected grabs you by the flux capacitor, and that's when you're hooked. As a new story begins to take shape in the following scenes, Telltale hits us with roughly 1.21 gigawatts of Back to the Future nostalgia, and they use all of it, the props, the angles, the memories, to continue a storyline that stopped 11 years ago. Now those are just examples from the opening moments of the game, but it's also a summation of the game's writing as a whole. Telltale didn't just make some generic point-and-click game with the Back to the Future license carelessly slapped on. This game feels like Back to the Future, and in terms of reverence for the source material, it's absolutely meticulous. Of course, nods to the movies aren't restricted to just the writing. The gameplay is also packed with them. For example, you can knock something important out of Biff's hands by plugging into Doc's massive amplifier and, well, if you've seen the movie, you know what happens next. Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Obviously, I haven't said a whole lot about the gameplay up to this point, and there are two reasons for that. One, the writing and presentation just have me way too excited, and two, I mean, let's be honest, it's Telltale Games. They are to point-and-click adventure games as Marty McFly is to Wild Gunman. They're masters of their craft, and they're at their pointing and clicking best in this one, too. This is a fantastic homage to Back to the Future, but it's also a fantastic point-and-click game. The puzzles aren't difficult, but that hardly matters. Playing as Marty McFly and interacting with his world is what makes the game so endearing. And considering that the game is probably going to bring new players into pointing and clicking, the difficulty is perfect. Just perfect. And really, so is the game, provided you're a Back to the Future fan. Even though it's still a fantastic point-and-click adventure in its own right, you're not going to see what's so special about it unless you're a fan of the movies. But if you are, you're in for a real treat with episode 1 of Back to the Future the Game. A game as great as its title is fitting. It certainly is about time.